House tonight at the Ashwaubenon Public Works and Protection Committee meeting where an ordinance was introduced regarding the length of stay at short-term rental units. Samantha Cavalli attended the meeting and tells us more about the clash of opinions.
It's gotten to the point where every house sold in my wards, virtually everyone, is going to a Airbnb. And it's killing our neighborhoods, and we're not the only community.
Current residents have expressed concerns regarding annoyances and challenges that are created sometimes by short-term rentals. The Ashwaubenon Community Development proposed an ordinance amendment to require a minimum 7-day consecutive stay at short-term rentals. It was introduced to the Ashwaubenon Public Works and Protection Committee Wednesday evening to try and address the issue. One of the members of the committee voiced her concerns.
I don't like it. The people that own the house and rent it out do not take good care of it. They do not have limitations on their people, and our neighborhood really gets affected by that. It's noisy, it's smoky, they all got their grills going and their radios going. So if you are owners, then you better make your rules effective.
After looking at Wisconsin state statute, the village saw an opportunity to further restrict the constant changeover and noise issues residents had, which would impact the so-called Packers party houses and other properties. On the other side, property owners say these short-term rentals support the local economy as people are coming for a multitude of reasons and not just for the 8 weekends a year for Packers home games.
As long as there is a tourist destination like Lambeau Field in the Titletown district, there will be a demand from fans to visit and therefore a housing market to host those fans.
So again, I ask this committee for really thinking this through, maybe punishing those property owners that are not playing by the rules, but please don't let that affect all of those of us that are running an honorable business and bringing value and tax money to the village of Ashwaubenon.
The committee unanimously voted to send the ordinance back to staff. Samantha Cavalli, Action 2 News, Ashwaubenon.